The 761st Tank Battalion is often remembered as a unit that fought two wars, one against the Nazis, and another against the racism of their own country. That narrative is true, but it often misses the crucial detail that this battalion wasn't just overcoming prejudice, it was consistently outperforming expectations to the point of becoming one of the most effective armored units in the European theater. The story begins not in Europe, but in the Jim Crow South, where the battalion was activated in April 1942 at Camp Claiborne, Louisiana. These men trained for nearly 2 years, learning their craft in M5 Stuart and later M4 Sherman tanks, all while enduring the degrading conditions of a segregated army and the hostility of the surrounding communities. The Army's skepticism was so profound that black soldiers were not originally intended for combat. As one historian noted, most were assigned to labor units. The 761st existed as a kind of experiment, to see if African Americans could fight. The unit's most famous trainee, First Lieutenant Jackie Robinson, became a symbol of this struggle. In July 1944 at Fort Hood, Texas, Robinson refused to move to the back of a segregated bus. He was arrested and court-martialed, an incident that prevented him from deploying with the battalion. The commander, Lieutenant Colonel Paul Bates, actually refused to prosecute Robinson, but the military bureaucracy transferred him to another unit where a compliant commander would. It's a lesser-known fact that the man who would break baseball's color line nearly led these tankers into battle. When the 761st, nicknamed the Black Panthers, finally arrived in France in October 1944, they were assigned to General George S. Patton's Third Army. Patton's famous speech to them was a mixed message, a rousing endorsement of their fighting ability publicly, while privately he expressed no faith in the inherent fighting ability of the race. He only accepted them because he desperately needed the armor. Yet the men of the 761st were determined to prove him wrong. Their combat record is staggering. For 183 straight days, they fought without relief, making them one of the longest-serving tank battalions in continuous combat. They were a spearhead in the Battle of the Bulge, helping to relieve the besieged 101st Airborne at Bastogne. They were the first American unit to punch through the vaunted Siegfried Line and one of the first to link up with the Soviet Red Army at the Enns River in Austria. The cost was horrific. The battalion suffered a casualty rate of nearly 50%, losing 71 tanks and earning approximately 300 Purple Hearts. The actions of men like Staff Sergeant Reuben Rivers epitomize their valor. During the assault on the town of Bergultroff in November 1944, Rivers' tank hit a mine, severely wounding his leg. His commander ordered him to evacuate, but Rivers refused, saying it was the only order I'll ever disobey. Despite a gangrenous leg, he took command of another tank and fought for 3 more days. When ordered to pull back on November 19, he radioed back, "I see him. We'll fight him." He was killed in the ensuing engagement. He was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor, in 1997, over 50 years after his death. The battalion was awarded a belated Presidential Unit Citation by President Jimmy Carter in 1978. The 761st story is a profound lesson in the hidden costs of prejudice. The Army wasted some of its best-trained men on labor duties, and when they were finally unleashed, they proved to be one of its most effective fighting forces. It demonstrates that a soldier's capability is not determined by their skin color, but by their training and character, a truth that the military, and the nation, took far too long to accept. Subscribe to War Machiner and share this if you value history that goes deeper. As the weeks turned into months, the men of the 761st Tank Battalion began to carve a legacy that would resonate far beyond the battlefields of Europe. Each engagement tested their mettle, and they were forced to confront the dual reality of warfare, fighting for freedom abroad while grappling with the injustices of segregation back home. The stories of camaraderie and courage emerged, including those of men like Sergeant Major Edward T. McDonough, who, despite facing immense prejudice, stood shoulder to shoulder with his comrades, embodying the spirit of resilience. Their bravery in the most harrowing conditions illustrated not only their dedication to the mission at hand but also their unwavering hope for a future free from the chains of racial discrimination. As they pushed forward into German territory, they inspired one another, forging bonds that would last a lifetime and shatter the preconceived notions held about black soldiers in the U.S. Army.